Okay, homies. Alright, what's up everybody? Back, it's the Khaiza, and we're back again with, well, we haven't done not like a video game review, right? But I've been meaning to do this for a long while, and that is, I want to do a year one in review of Mortal Kombat 1, right? The game came out a year ago, and it's a fascinating thing to see the quick rise of MK1 and then leading to the ultimate downfall of MK1, Mortal Kombat 1, right? So Mortal Kombat came out at exactly a year ago, right? September 2023, right? That was my birth month, and yeah, I was super jazzed about Mortal Kombat 1 from prior gameplay demonstrations of MK1 with all of the cameo assists and, just the crazy fucking combos that people have been discovering and doing. And we finally got to play the game, and yeah, it does feel a little bit like a slightly faster MK. I mean, it still feels like MK11 with the sound beat, with the audio beats to attacks and hits. So it's not that fast, but you can definitely do a lot more than, let's say, MK11. It's not going to be as hella fast like MKX, but it's just one point above of MK11. It still feels like it's kind of slow. Feeling the game you don't really understand Mortal Kombat until you play it, right? And by playing it, this is technically I'm still a greenhorn / noob, no pun intended, of Mortal Kombat. My first Mortal Kombat online experience would be, or my first Mortal Kombat experience would be MK11, and oh boy, what a rough MK to start, right? Combat felt slow and chunky. There were no crazy fucking strings, no oppressive means to overcome the opponent, right? It just didn't feel that right, and on top of that, it just felt very restrictive. A lot of moves gave you so much plus, but at a cost, right? Everything that is in MK11 came at a huge staggering cost, which is I didn't really like that. I didn't like having things taken away from me just by playing. No. But Mortal Kombat 1 has the awesome crypt mode, and as well as the cinematic story mode. Cinematic story mode is hella fire for being on the PS4. God damn how good it looks on the PS4, man. Netherealm has been definitely upping the ante a lot in terms of their visual quality. MK1 looks hella stylish as all hell, man. Right? When you see the characters faces move and how they move and weave. Holy shit, this doesn't feel like a game, it feels like a movie. Even though it's how I always say, games should be just games and not movies, right? But, it's kind of interesting that, this phenomenon that we are in this realm that, games are technically being treated as, movies. All started with, Hideo Kojima with Metal Gear Solid, man. Shoutouts to the GOAT, baby. Right? But, still, though. MK11 didn't feel like, a game, rather just for casuals to get in and start learning Mortal Kombat at their own pace. This was at a time when fighting games were aggressively trying to be more slow and trying to grab a casual audience, right? Street Fighter being slow, Grand Blue, what else was there? MK11, Yeah, every fighting game just wants to be slower because that was the climate. But now we're in this age where fighting games have like gone up in pace and speed that now like the slowness is not an issue. Now we can do like 2x KO combos, right? Some crazy high antic like bullshit, or like now even playing like Marvel 2. A lot of casuals are playing Marvel 2 because it's Marvel vs. Capcom, right? Even though Marvel vs. Capcom has its own problems with the casual audience, but at least like it's fun. Of course, we have Street Fighter 6, we have Tekken 8, we have KOF or Fatal Fury coming soon. Yeah, like now fighting game players are aging up and changing. Instead of being like, you know, complaining about like the fastness, now they really like the fastness of fighting games. And MK1 is technically like fast to a point, but it still shares a little bit of like MK11 isms, you know? The whole you know, main marketing campaign for MK1 is all about like tags and cameos that you can like partner up with, like not necessarily a playable character, but a cameo where you can summon like an assist and the assist will do stuff for you. But that's where like, you know, the main issue lies is with the cameo system. Like, yeah, like characters overall get hella cool sauce because of the mechanics and the gameplay behind MK1 being a little bit faster than MK11. But when you tie it with assist, that, you know, you want to do cool shit with assist, but yeah, like most of the time it felt a little bit inconsistent with timing moves with cameos. Like I remember I had to do that with Takeda, right? Takeda like being like a swaggy as hell boy, and the last character in the season 1 character pack of MK1. Yeah, like Takeda's hella saucy, but like in some of the trials where like you try to like summon assist, but then the special move takes priority, or like the cameo takes priority, and you can't do like another move, which is like, I don't know if I like that, right? It kind of feels like one's taking over the other, right? Which is like, I know I'm like trying to do the special move while doing like a free like ambush assist, but it's not really like coming out. Yeah, and I had to like change up like the control scheme for the input window to be like long, so that way some certain characters like Homelander, Ermac, Omni-Man have really specific input sensitive combos. So it's like, oh my god, I have to like work my hands so much just to do like at least like 30% combos. Swaggy as all hell, but like the execution or like the sensitivity of inputs is hella crazy. Of course, there are some like really cool characters that you don't have to worry about a lot of like execution. Baraka is a good like, you know, online warrior type of like character. Sub-Zero, Scorpion, well, Smoke, I don't know, because Smoke you can certainly like play him in a very specific way, but he has like cool looking like smoke ports where he can like cancel via like back or like back. That shit's really cool, but like Smoke is also like an online warrior. He just does stuff and it just like works out. You know, things like that. Liu Kang, obviously. Melina. I usually main General Shao, and General Shao is like a bruiser of a character. He doesn't have a lot of combos, but he does have a lot of mix-up, and he does aggressive rushdown. He's good with axe or without axe, right? But speaking in terms of like roster, we have about 35 characters. 35 characters in Mortal Kombat 1. I think like I think like the highest would be like MK11. Well, if you really want to go for old stuff, then definitely MK Armageddon or Deception with the biggest, largest roster there is, right? Just everything from like joke characters to serious hardcore characters, you know? As far as like mainline goes, yeah, I think this would be second to largest. But the choices in here, or like the decisions made in this like original timeline, right? Because it was all Liu Kang bullshit after becoming like Fire God. The Lin Kuei, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero are brothers instead of rivaling factions. Kenshi is young Kenshi and is the cousin to Takahashi Takeda. General Shao is like an army leader, and Queen oh, there he is. There she is. Queen Sindel, or used to be the ruler of Outworld. Now it's Melina. And Kitana and Melina are sisters rather than Kitana and Jade. There's also like Tanya, who's part of like the Ungadi. Shang Tsung is like, you know, every universe has like a Shang Tsung. So but they made him like the villain. Well, technically villain. He was supposed to be like a grunt character by Liu Kang. Every character that Liu Kang like hates, like General Shao, Takeda, I guess Sub-Zero, and Quan Chi, Havoc, Nitara, Rain, I guess? Yeah, they made him to be like losers. Like, you a loser, bro. Or maybe don't even like exist, like Ermac or some shit, you know? All cause of like Liu Kang wants to like make a new timeline in the vision he sees fit. But you know, interlopers, like other timeline havocs want to like fuck Liu Kang's vision up and change that. So it's pretty cool because it gives us like a new look, like a new generation of Mortal Kombat kids growing up, and this will be like their game, you know? But old fans who know about Mortal Kombat lore, right, can definitely be piqued with curiosity of like how each character's origin story is. How is every character in this like MK like lineup different from the OG timeline? And you get to see like characters like being good guys, like Baraka being like, you know, a lovable guy, or like Johnny Cage being the most meme-worthy character. He's still, you know, chauvinistic, like self-centered, but at least like he's charming here, right? Johnny Cage still like being like a good guy, right? Raiden and Kung Lao are brothers. You know, things like that. Of course, there's going to be similar, like, timeline, you know, timeline similarities. Like, you know, the rivaling of Kuai Liang and Bi Han, right? Both of these brothers, both of them have, like, different conflicts. But, of course, the Mantles, Sub-Zero and Scorpion, they are destined. They are canon events. They will always be destined to fight each other, right? So on that like perspective, it is like a little bit interesting to see, right? Just like the different story takes in this new timeline. Everything is brand new. It's technically like a timeline reset. Things like that. As far as like outside reception of Mortal Kombat, yeah, like I said, it definitely like popped off because everybody was getting into MK and slowly becoming like MK fans. But then after, I think it was like not even like 2 months, like a month, players have started like discovering some inconsistencies with Mortal Kombat on on a gameplay level. Cameo inconsistencies, like there was the infamous like player 2 bug, right? There were a whole lot of different mechanical bugs that was not polished out when Mortal Kombat 1 after the first month of it being public to the people. Yeah, there were just like so many plagues, and there were a lot of like seasonal stuff, right? There was a lot of like seasonal stuff with like new character updates. What was it? Who was the first character? Oh, it was Omni-Man, that's right. The guest characters being superhero based. Omni-Man, Peacemaker, and Homelander. If you were to tell me that like when the era of like super dark, super gritty superhero shows like Peacemaker, Invincible, and The Boys were definitely like popping off, then they would be like a good then that would have been like a good like call. Like if Mortal Kombat came out with like this direction of guest characters, it would have certainly like popped off. But we're like what? Season 4 of The Boys? Invincible is getting like 50-50 reception than it did like in season 1. Peacemaker was a cool ass season 1 2 years ago, and production for season 2 is being made. It feels like a little bit late, right? The other characters like Quan Chi, Ermac, and Takeda, that's what a lot of people were like looking forward to, the Mortal Kombat characters. The reception for these three is like 2 of them are Superman, 1 is more brawler focused, 1 is more eye laser focused, and then we have John Cena, right? The most like blandest fucking characters that you could ever think of, considering the history of Mortal Kombat games prior. We all know Superman and Black Adam in Injustice 1 and 2. Oh boy. Oh boy. And Peacemaker being like a zoner, like, oh man, shades of Deathstroke over here. But surprisingly they weren't. Omni-Man was a huge, quick breath of fresh air for being a brawler Superman and just doing cool looking shit. Homelander though, I mean, he has like flight cancel, so everybody thought he was just going to be eye lasers, which is like, you know, that's his like thing, that's his like kit. But surprisingly, he's much more than eye lasers. He still is, but the level of intricacy for Homelander is pretty nice here. And Peacemaker, oh my god, dude, Day 1 Peacemaker was just some insane shit. Summon Eagly, Force Field, Torpedo, right? Peacemaker is consistently good with, in MK1. Like, he's almost like Day 1 busted. Until they patched him out with his, like, his gunshot meter burn and all that shit. That he's not much of a busted menace as he was, but he still gets the job done. He still has really cool looking combos. But the bugs plagued Mortal Kombat. The online felt like kind of ass. The online felt kind of ass. I mean, rollback netcode, so it felt like kind of smooth, but I had the experience of playing Mortal Kombat on the PS5, and I just hate fighting games on the PS5. Like, they're just, they don't prioritize. Sony doesn't prioritize fighting games on that system. Third party puts it on that system, but Sony themselves don't really like take into account, oh, how will a fighting game play? No, graphics and visuals and like better GPU cards, right? Like, man, I I just don't like playing on like PS5. That's like my big cumbersome factor. PC feels a lot more better to do like moves, but you still have like the cameo bugs and inconsistencies, right? Oh, I forgot about the cameos themselves, right? I forgot about the cameos themselves.
Dearest Ashura.
Yeah, so like the cameos, you got like a wide like variety from. You even got like Scorpion and Sub, like the old school classics, but you even got like casual Cyrax and casual Sector. Oh, they even tell you like the level of difficulty each cameo is? Yeah. Wow, okay. Casual expert Janet Cage. Wow, okay. But the biggest like problem cameos in this game, Serena being like a brain dead cameo, Cyrax Day 1 was a really huge problem. There was also Kung Lao with like the hat low toss mix up. Hat low mix up. There was also Sonya. Sonya was also pretty nice, but she was more for air juggle more than anything. And of course, the two biggest characters in the MK1 cameo balance is like Chameleon and Janet Cage. I know Chameleon got like a little bit nerfed and Janet Cage got a little bit nerfed, but they're still pretty powerful cameos like to this day, right? Just there's not a lot of like cameo variety, right? You got all of these like PS2 even to like X characters like Farah and shit and Tremor, but there's hardly enough like cameo variety, and even like to the point of Mortal Kombat itself, right? Even, and what I mean is like, you know, the people that love Mortal Kombat, right? They love MK1, but for some reason they don't like the cameos. Like the cameos throws off like, I don't know about pro base, but casual base, right? It's just like a lot to think about. Like when cameos were like introduced, they were technically like, you could call like MK1 like the Marvel vs. Capcom. It's not like a all-star of like everybody, but like, dude, it's like you're picking one character and then you're picking an assist, and it sort of feels like MVC1, but Mortal Kombat characters. That's kind of like the idea I feel they were like trying to like strive for, you know? But a lot of casuals didn't like that. They rather prefer 1v1 Mortal Kombat or even like X Combat. So yeah, like over like the span of like the year, Mortal Kombat in the public reception has like dialed down, or like, you know, became not as talk of the town as it was the first month like it launched. There's just like a lot of problems that like plagued MK, and not a lot of people like jived with it. For me personally, I still like MK1, right? Oh, there you go. For me personally, I still like MK1. I like the creativity and the possibilities that you can do with MK1. I still dig like the cameo stuff. Just my only recommendation is make it more consistent and have more freedom to and not be like input sensitive or input priority with collisions with like special moves or strings or shit like that, right? That's like my only like biggest like thing. Yeah, it's just something about me that likes, you know, sort of like the games like even like 1v1s like Killer Instinct and KOF and Street Fighter 6 that offer a lot of like freedom of expression, as to quote like Maxman_dude, a lot of like player discovery, player like diversity, if I were to like add on to that. I love like games that make you like, you know, think about things like a lot, you know, be more expressive to the players, right? I sort of like dig that now more and more as I get into like my 30s and shit, you know? I still like all fighting games. I still play Tekken. I still play, like, for example, Tekken. I still love Tekken. I still play Tekken 8. But yeah, it's just like with Tekken, there's, I don't think, not a lot of like variety. You know? Like Tekken introduced, or at least 8 introduced, like heat system and overall gameplay mechanic changes from 7 to 8 to make it feel a little bit like more faster, but yeah, like Tekken didn't really like change, right? Because it's still like the same like game from eons ago. It's just much more, you know, easier to use than it was like, let's say, 7 years ago. No pun intended to Tekken 7. Tekken 8 is a fantastic game, but over the years, I sort of like deviated away from like Tekken. I'll still do Tekken content, but not to the point of like maybe Tekken Online or things like that. Something. Tekken is fantastic, but I really love like the games that give me like a passion or a drive for them, you know? Every time I think like recently with Street Fighter 6 with like Terry. Dude, I had so much like fun just trying to like figure out Street Fighter shit than I did with like, you know, Tekken, right? Tekken became like, I think I remember like Lydia was like hella cumbersome, you know? But with like Street Fighter 6, there's like different like possibilities to go through because of the game's mechanics, with like Drive Rush, with like the drive system being a key factor, you know? You can do so much stuff with Street Fighter 6 than you could do with like Tekken 8. Sure, Tekken has like heat, and you could do like different like heat routes to do stuff, do cool stylish stuff in Tekken, but yeah, it's just more or less like activating heat is like your big like soul charge move from Soul Calibur. In a lot of ways, it's like Soul Calibur. You activate heat, right? It's armor move. It's technically stops time for you to counteract. You have a heat smash move, which is like a very plus frame, like technically finisher on top of like rage arts. Of course, you have also rage arts, which are only available if you're at like low health. But yeah, it's just not a lot of like diversity. I still feel like I'm doing the same shit with Tekken than I do with like other fighting games, right? It just, yeah, it's a lot of like legacy skill with Tekken. There's nothing wrong with Tekken. I don't feel like I'm expressing myself a lot or, you know, thinking creatively a lot with Tekken than I do with other games, right? I'm not having, well, of course, it's ultimately down to like bias. Am I having fun with Tekken 8? Probably, but I have like more fun in, let's say, like Tekken, like a failing like game wrought with like problems because of the gameplay advertisement of it. Cameos are awesome. Doing cool combos is awesome. I like those things, right? Even though, like, again, the bugs are still there. I love like doing combos in MK and discovering what you can do with different like different team ideas, right? I still like dig it for MK1. I'll still like play it and have a lot of fun just doing stuff in MK1. But again, I have to like understand what the problems are going for MK1, and you know, on top of that, you know, I'm not speaking about like Invasions because Invasions sucks ass. I played it like one full season for like a Scorpion skin, and that was really it. I do not like the Mario Party style Invasions mode. just take it away. Give us back the crypt. But I dig what they're going for, and I like their approach, right? Albeit, you know, the other problem with Mortal Kombat 1 is all of like the monetization features. Or sorry, monetization, or all the Warner Brothers features. Pay to get a fatality, pay for extra skins, right? There's definitely a lot of like Warner Brothers sleazebag corporate greed nonsense that plague Mortal Kombat 1, you know? And it's kind of like bullshit. It's kind of BS. Warner Brother like plaguing Netherealm for just corporate greed nonsense. Paying like overcharged prices and shit like that. But yeah, like a year one in review, I'll still like play MK1. I still like dig a lot of like the elements in MK1 with cameos and like things like that. Maybe like in time there will be like a grand update balance to possibly fix some of like these issues for MK1. Just like a slight bit. I'm really like, you know, hoping so for that point in time, because man, I don't want to see it like, you know, die down. I think like Mortal Kombat like in general is one of like, you know, the big three. Big three, like, you know how you have like shonen anime / manga like Bleach, One Piece, Naruto. In terms of like fighting games, the big three are Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. Those are the games series that are the pinnacle at the top. And Street Fighter is one of those big three because like it is a very casual driven audience. Like the people that are playing Mortal Kombat 1 are like, you know, little kids, right? Because of the M rating, the gore and the sex factor behind Mortal Kombat. You got like Bikini Ninjas, you got like MK9 Bikini Ninjas, you got all the crazy like gore and fatalities that you can do, brutalities and all the different like enders that you can do. So it still like stands up high because, you know, of the casual factor behind it, right? So like Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers is also a candidate for one of the big three because it's the biggest fucking roster there is of Nintendo characters and guest party characters. And it's Smash. Everybody digs into Smash. It's an easy to understand concept. There's not a lot of like execution in Smash Brothers unless you go really pro with it. But there's no like quarter circle forwards, quarter circle backs outside of like some characters, down back forwards, down backs. You know, Mortal Kombat has that, but it's circumvented by, you know, the gore and the toxicity nature of like online of MK. And, you know, I touched like MK online, it was not fun. I don't know, it just didn't like jive with me. It was just like a very different climate than some of the other fighting games that I've like played. You have like teabaggers, you have like the Baraka one and doneers. You have people that like fatality you and like dominate that like, you know, they're good. It just felt like kind of nasty. It just felt nasty to play. On top of like the game I was like playing on like the PS5, it was a horrendous fucking experience. So overall, I would say MK1 like still is like a good game. I wouldn't say great. It's a good game. Good fighting game. A good Mortal Kombat game. I don't know, that could be like what was it? A topic of conversation for other MK fans. But to me, it's like, it's a good Mortal Kombat. It's not reaching X though, because X has so much flavor and personality, right? But can't deny me, like, you know, the crazy stuff that you can do in this game, then, or equally as so as like X, right? with like running and like, of course, variations were the main selling point for MKX. Choose 3 different styles for the same character, but in here you get to choose one character and you get to choose different assists that can work well with your playstyle, right? So I give it that. Just like on a gameplay level, I like MK1 a lot. You know, I just like being able to discover and rediscover over and over again, the perpetual loop of like just labbing and figuring stuff out. I like that shit, right? So I want to give hope for MK1. I give it like a, what was it? The same as like Chaos Reigns, a 7 out of 10. You know? I just think there's more room to improve MK1. I hope there's more room to improve, you know? Hopefully I'm not like jinxing it and, you know, MK1 is like cancelled. But I really hope that like, you know, MK1 gets more love over like the next few months or even like years. And people will finally like recognize, you know, like MK is a fun game with all like the different updates and stuff, making it a little bit better to play than it is like now or like, you know, a year ago. So I'll still play MK, right? I'll still play it to like my soul. I don't play it as often, right? But every time I think about MK and just like trying out like characters and like sort of like rediscovering, I'll have a blast. The point is, like, I love fighting games with you know, expressive dialogue, figuratively. And I always appreciate it and I always love them for that. Rather than just like, you know, fighting games with like graphics. I do not like fighting games that just sell you on like graphics. I always love like the dank ones. Give me like just freedom of expression. That's all I want.